Gentlemen, I want to talk a little bit about Tinder and the increased intrinsic value a Western man experiences here in Thailand. I'm on Tinder back in Australia and my experiences have not been good at all. Swiping right constantly yields only a few matches, and then it's a lot of time and wasted effort, messaging back and forth, trying out different descriptions to use in my profile, different photos, etc., all to no avail. It really is a complete waste of time and effort. Many women have dematched me at the slightest hint that I'm too smart and too highly educated for them, that I see the dating game too clearly, see through their wily games, sniffing around to see the size of my wallet, the fact that I won't give up my resources to them or won't put them on a pedestal where they believe they belong. I've only been on 2 Tinder dates in the last year, and those were with a Thai woman who was basically fresh off the boat, so to speak. But she learned very quickly the way things work in Australia and the massive advantages she has there with the local men. I could see it in her eyes, her posture, her behaviour, the things she said, and the way she interacted and treated me. Anyway, I decided to try Tinder here in Thailand for the first time. I had to buy a monthly subscription to do this as I'm in a foreign country. Wow, what a difference it makes being a white Western male in a foreign country. For complete clarity, let me repeat that. Wow, what a difference it makes being a white Western male in a foreign country. Here I am. I'm exactly the same person I was last week in Australia, yet the results I achieve are markedly different. Nothing about me has changed. I'm the same person, the same looks, the same weight and height, the same level of muscularity, same body fat percentage, same intellect, the same level of education, same clothes, the same photos on my profile, and yet, almost every time I swipe right, I get a match. And not just any match. I'm getting matched with women and with ladyboys who are more beautiful than any of the women at home that I could ever hope to be matched with. It's just so easy in comparison to Tinder in Australia. Out of the matches I get, in many cases, they then message me very quickly compared to back home, where I need to message them almost all of the time. What's the real difference here, gentlemen? Tinder in the kingdom of Thailand versus Tinder in the matriarchy of Australia. Now get real quiet for a moment so you fully take this in. My intrinsic value as a male has changed by changing my location. In business, intrinsic value is the actual value of a company or an asset based on an underlying perception of its true value, including all aspects of the business in terms of both tangible and intangible factors. This value may or may not be the same as the current market value. My intrinsic value, as determined and judged by women, is my level of wealth, status, and resources. The fact that I'm in a developing country here in Thailand means my intrinsic value has soared much higher in comparison to back home in Australia. It's both the perception and the reality that I, as a Westerner, have money, status, and resources in comparison to the rest of the marketplace here, made up of local, mostly poorer Thai men. It's the lack of institutionalized feminism in Thai society. It's the fact that I'm exotic as a white-skinned Australian man whose time and attention are being competed for by many a Thai. A relatively rare commodity in a highly competitive economic marketplace. It's the relative lack of power of Thai women and Thai ladyboys in Thai society in the kingdom of Thailand in comparison to the incredible power that Western women have in the matriarchal Western societies. I'm a wealthy, white-skinned Western man that fits the mould as an ideal specimen in the eyes of the local Thais. My market value here in Thailand is also higher than my intrinsic value. There's a significant difference between intrinsic value and market value. Again, as discussed, in the business world, intrinsic value is an estimate of the actual true value of a company. The market value is the value of a company as reflected by the company's stock price. Therefore, market value may be significantly higher or lower than intrinsic value. So it is with me, the white-skinned, wealthy foreigner. Many Thais will equate a market value to me that is higher than my intrinsic value. The takeaway message, gentlemen, is that both my intrinsic and market value is much higher than it is in the Western world, so I can and will take advantage of my relative economic strengths, advantages, and dating and sexual market opportunities here in Thailand. So, should you decide to follow in my footsteps and come here? This is the real reason Western women hate us Western men that are frequent visitors to places like Thailand and Vietnam. Our actions, taking flight, deprive them of an economic resource, even if that resource is not high value to them personally. Some other female in the female collective loses by our actions, and as we know, women like to group together and close ranks against men, pouring on the guilt and shaming language to get us under their control. For after all, our actions of taking flight might also inspire other men to follow suit, and this obviously cannot be condoned nor tolerated. I wonder, the sexual market value graph of men and women, wouldn't it be interesting to create versions of it based on locations in the developing world that us foreigners tend to frequent? Places like Thailand, Vietnam, and Cambodia. To create a version of it that takes into account a man's intrinsic value based on the fact that he's a white-skinned, relatively wealthy Westerner in a developing country, and how his intrinsic value is higher than in the Western world. Let's think of the reverse of this for a moment. What value does a young, attractive Thai woman or Thai ladyboy have in the Western world? I, for one, know several ladyboys working in Australia, and their economic value has soared in comparison to what it is in Thailand. They have economic opportunities working as escorts that they could only dream of here in Thailand. $400 an hour compared to around $80 an hour here in Thailand. That's almost 4 times higher per hour pay than here in Thailand. They're inundated in some cases with thirsty, desperate Western men. Of course they are. Look at the environment in the Western world. They're an exotic flower with high desirability and value. The bottom line is, here in Thailand, I'm being looked up to by poorer Thai women and Thai ladyboys, whereas in Australia, I'm being looked up to and over. Let me repeat. In Australia, I'm being looked up to and over. Passed over for richer, more successful men with wealth, resources and status who are much easier to control than I am. I wonder, how do the poorer Thai men here compete for access to Thai women, given the presence of richer foreigners? It mustn't be easy. The local Thai women would be looking up and over the Thai men because these men do not fit their list of requirements in the way foreign men do, particularly their biggest and most important requirement and need, their economic need for income, wealth, and resources. It just goes to show you that it's not us men that are the problem, but we can say that we men have a collective problem that are being left out in the cold. due to the high level of power of Western women who don't need us anymore. And remember, to a woman, need and love are the same. When a woman says she loves you, replace the word need with love and you'll be right 100% of the time. It's definitely women that are the problem, and there's no doubt in my mind that economic security is what women are truly, really after, worldwide. Behaviour is communication, and the actions of women who have gained wealth, status and resources is to look upwards to richer men than themselves. It's so easy to see and to feel this after spending time here in Thailand and being the man that is being looked up to instead of over, being the man treated with respect, dignity and kindness instead of being treated like a piece of crap or simply being ignored. Andrew Henderson from Nomad Capitalist is a writer who I have a lot of respect for, and he says to go where you're treated best. Well, I did exactly that. I'm here in Pattaya, Thailand. I'm treated exceptionally well in comparison to Australia. For me, this is the only rational course to take. Note, this is not my action travelling to a developing country. No, it's my reaction. I never would have needed to resort to such measures if the economic environment in the Western world had not changed so much and become so heavily tilted in favour of women. Until next time, gentlemen, all the best. I'm the Pretender.